Gadgeteer here, and this is the Fancy Forest Kalidi miniature backpack. I'm going to give a brief overview of its features, what it does well and what it does not so well, some thoughts on how to improve it, and then I'm going to give it an overall ranking at the end of the video. So first of all, what do we have here? The Fancy Forest is essentially a knockoff of the much more popular Fjallraven Kanken. Specifically, it's a knockoff of the Kanken Mini. First of all, I'd like to give a warning. According to this tab here, this bag is made with excessive dye, and so it does recommend that before wearing it, you wash it out with some lukewarm water. It says to be careful wearing it on light clothes. I personally haven't had any issues with it yet, but I might just be lucky. The fabric itself seems to be some sort of polypropylene material. It is very, very nice feeling, and it seems to hold up quite well. You'll notice the large handles on the top, a signature of the line it's mimicking, as well as some sheesh. Very hard to use buckles or snaps, keeping it in place. The back handle falls down out of the way, but the front I have not been able to get to stay down. It likes to stay up top. It also features some adjustable straps on the back using the same snap system. And the straps have kind of a weird use that you can do with them. So in order to convert this from basically a backpack into more of a handbag, they have this interesting method where they have a buckle on their strap and you can buckle it straight up to the top to kind of keep the straps from dangling. And that is basically their strap management system. It's interesting, and I guess it works. It kind of dangles down a bit far, but it's there. It's also got an elastic water bottle holder on each side. It is not a very large one. It will fit a grocery store water bottle just fine, but it can just barely hold this sip bottle here. And it will not hold this slightly larger 20-liter insulated bottle at all. This sip bottle is 16 ounces, by the way. The bag has some rain flaps over both of the front compartments, the front one and this main compartment. This front compartment here is very small, but it is big enough, in my experience, to hold a small wallet and some keys. And the main interior pocket is relatively large. It has a large pocket on the front and on the back, as well as this zippered pocket at the top here, which isn't very deep. It's a few inches, maybe. One of the cooler features on this bag would be the rear compartment. It has a quick access side zipper on the back that could also double as like a hidden pocket. It's actually one of my favorite features. If we can undo these buckles and convert it back into a backpack here, get it on my back, I can show you. You can kind of do this thing where you take one strap off and sling it around to the side, and now I have quick access to this rear pocket. That's why I called it quick access. Turn around so you can kind of see what it's like there. It is a really cool feature, and I like it quite a bit. As for the size, it is advertised as a 7-liter, but you might know that the liter rating can kind of differ from brand to brand, and I find this is on the smaller end of it. So here is a ruler for scale. Talking about what this bag does well, the fabric is the thing that stands out the most to me. It is a really, really nice fabric. One of the best feeling things I've ever touched. It just feels really sturdy. It's extremely water resistant, and it feels good. It feels really cool to touch. It's some sort of plastic, but it feels really strong and well made, and I like it a lot. I also think it, of course, looks really good. It looks pretty much exactly like the Kanken that it's trying to knock off. And if you're into that look, I think it carries that look pretty well. And in addition, I think it actually makes some improvements over the original. First of all, having stretchable water bottle pockets that can actually hold a water bottle is pretty nice compared to the original. It also has padded straps, which I don't know if that's an improvement, but it's okay. But where it really shines are the additional organization pockets. Having these pockets on the inside, it's not much organization, but it is significantly more than the original bag has. And the rear pocket, like I said, is one of my favorite features on this, and it is not existent on the original. So Fancy Forest, I think you actually did a really good job kind of improving on the design. Some people might hate me for that, but I'm reviewing this bag. I like its design. I think the pockets are a good thing. Something that surprised me is that it is actually fairly comfortable. I haven't been able to get out much because of the quarantine, but I did load this guy up with a water bottle and some other somewhat heavy things. It was not loaded up to its full capacity by any means, but it had some weight in there, and I went on a 2-hour walk with it, and I really didn't have any issues. The padding's not too thick, and that's fine, but that's not why I thought it wouldn't be comfortable. It's because when it sits on my back, it actually tends to sit more like right here, so the padding isn't really on my shoulder, but it really didn't cause any problems. It had a few pounds in it, but you're not really meant to load this thing up and carry a whole bunch of weight in it, so it works pretty well. As for what's not so great, the straps, or specifically the strap adjustments. That snap system that I told you about earlier is causing some weirdness with this design. You might notice, if you're savvy, that the straps are on kind of upside down. I'm not sure how I can best demonstrate this, but because of how it's designed to work with the snap, it makes it really awkward to try and adjust it. I can try and show you here. Most bags, you'd grab the thing, this little excess, and you'd pull it down. With this one, you have to pull it up in order to adjust it tighter. So you might see as I have it on me, I can try and get in frame there. In order to adjust it smaller, I have to grab it and I have to pull it upward, which is really, really awkward and hard to do. And I haven't really been able to do it without taking the bag off, which really isn't ideal. You can kind of grab it from both ends and like yank it forward, but it really doesn't work. So I don't know why they did that. Having a functional strap adjustment down here would have been a lot better than having whatever this snapping thing is. Click. But far and away, the worst thing about this bag is the zippers. The zipper quality is abysmal. And it's not that the zippers themselves are like extremely bad, but when compared to the rest of this bag, they are terrible. They are completely the weak point of this bag. So first of all, it's a square bag. That means every time that you want to unzip it, you have to move around this kind of sharp corner, and that can get stuck a lot. It can cause a lot of problems going around. Right there, you can hear it kind of like catching and stopping when I try to do it. Right here, it can be a little hard, and this is empty. Full, it would be really hard. That square design really wants better zippers. They're just cheap zippers. They're not extremely bad, but they are definitely the thing that will wear out fastest on this bag. Looking at a lot of reviews of this before making this review of my own, I saw that a lot of people were reporting broken zippers within just the first few months. I haven't used it that heavily, but just from using the little bit that I have, I would agree it's probably going to break after not too much use. And in addition, the rain flaps kind of just make it a little bit harder. The zipper will move more easily if you kind of flip the rain flaps back like this, so it's not getting in the way, but then you don't have the rain flaps, and it looks kind of silly. To improve this bag, the first thing I would do is trade out the zippers. If this had some high quality zippers, it would be a really solid bag. Unfortunately, those zippers are really holding it back, and as well made as the rest of the bag seems to be, I just feel like it's going to fall apart due to a broken zipper. Second, a mistake they made was not putting a drain hole on the bottom of the water bottle holder. It would be really easy to do, just a tiny hole to help it drain it out if there's any spills, or if you're just in the rain and the rain's falling down the waterproofed stuff and just filling up this little bag here. It would cause a little bit of trouble. I would change these adjusters to face the right direction so that you can actually adjust it when it's on your back. Pretty easy choice. I would also improve on the internal organization. Not a lot, just a little bit. Right here, this big open flap could really benefit from having just a little bit more organization, maybe like 2 little pouches, or like have another pouch on the front, something like that, just a little bit. They're already adding organization. It wouldn't be too hard to just go a little bit further and make it a little more useful, because I don't know how many big, wide open spaces you need in a single compartment. And I might make these openings just a little bit bigger. Someone with larger hands like me, it can be hard to get into the smaller openings, but it's also a small bag, so that's understandable. And the last thing I would change is I'd probably cut back on the plagiarism a little bit. Like, I get that it's a knockoff, but they literally copy the company statement on the inside here. It's like this weird knockoff statement. In 1998, we launched Kalidi to prevent back problems among Europe's schoolchildren. Many of the early Kalidis are hot used today. I like to imagine that hot meant to be not, and they were trying to be funny and say, hey, you know, we're not really that widely known. But I kind of feel like it doesn't. I feel like they're just ripping it off completely, and I mean, have a little more class than that. You can just not put that in there. For design, I'd rate this bag a 6.5. Like I said, it kind of improves on the original Kanken Mini, but it kind of falls short in a few areas. The organization really isn't that great. It's got this weird like strap thing going on, but overall it's fine. It's small and it works for what it's intended for. As for ease of use, I give it a 3. The overall design's pretty good, but these zippers kind of get in your way when you're trying to access it, and there's also just that fear of the zippers breaking if you go too fast or jamming or something. Plus, as it stands, the strap adjustment is pretty hard to use. And I'm not really sure what the point of this snap-up thing is. It doesn't really help that much. As for the build quality, I would give it a 4 out of 10. It's solid. It really is good. The issue is just those zippers again. These zippers are going to fall apart, and it's bringing the whole score down. I would probably give this like a good 8, maybe even a 9 on build quality. It feels really solid. I imagine it would last a really long time if the zippers don't break on you. Actually, just while reviewing this, I noticed that the threading is coming out in this, and I've barely used it at all. Just a few hours maybe. I mean, you can see it's still like pretty flat from not being used that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that build quality down to like a 3, just because I don't know what else this thing's hiding. It's being sneaky. For value, I'd give it a 6. This comes in at $26 US on Amazon right now, and it's a low cost for an okay bag. Unfortunately, I can't really bring myself to recommend it, again, just because of those zippers. Overall, I'd give it a 5.5 out of 10 rating. If you want a Kanken Mini and can't afford it and just want the look, I think it fits the part. It does quite a good job. It even has some improvements over the Kanken in some areas, but I can't fully recommend it because I can't guarantee it's going to last a long time. If you don't really care about that and you want it for show and you're not going to use it all the time, it's fine. It feels really good and it looks all right. So if you're in it for the looks, it's great. Otherwise, I'd probably recommend a different bag. In fact, I have a very specific bag that I would recommend coming up in my next video. If you own this bag and have anything you'd like to add, please, by all means, let me know in the comments, let everyone else know, and thank you so much for sticking through this video with me. Oh my gosh. This is really hard to adjust.